Okay. Yeah.
Well, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. There's not very many of you here today, but we're happy that those of you who are here could make it. Thank you for braving the cold and the snow. My name is Sean Bastrom. I am Director of the International Programs Office and Director of Admissions as well here at ISU. And I just want to welcome you guys. We've got people on Zoom here as well. So those of you who are on Zoom, I know you can't see me, but you can see that your fellow students here. So maybe you guys can wave to everybody wave to the people on Zoom. So we've got Carlos and Calvin and looks like we lost somebody. There was one other person here, but jumped out. But anyway, if you're joining us from Zoom, welcome as well, and welcome to all of you guys. How many of you is the snow a new thing for you? Yeah, is this the first time having snow? This is a lot of snow to deal with. Good job. Believe it or not, I'm smiling behind this mask. So in case you're wondering, it's too bad that we have to wear masks, but we have a mask mandate right now on this campus. So everybody has to wear masks, even in classrooms, that kind of thing. But anyway, just welcome to ISU. We're happy to have you guys here. And I know you guys have come from a long ways. Some of you may have just got here just in the last 24 hours. I think some of the Japanese students just got here last night, right? Yeah, so I know you're probably tired and maybe jet lagged a little bit, but welcome and thank you for being here this morning anyway. So let me talk a little bit about what it's going to look like today. I'm going to minimize this screen. Usually I like to walk around, but I have to stay right behind this mic so that the people on Zoom can hear as well. Okay, so I'm going to go through some introductions. We're going to have several guest speakers coming in to talk to you. So we'll have student health coming. Jesse and I will talk about immigration rules and regulations that we're required to pass on to you. Nitin, he's been walking around. He's going to be talking about academic advising. Then we have a guest speaker from student success, counseling and testing, and then Khalil is going to end with student living. But you guys made it. We're happy to have you here. This is a picture of ISU in the summertime, so something to look forward to. It's not always white and cold here. How far have some of you come from? How many of you had a really long flight to get here? Any of you have longer than 15 hours flight? Okay. Anybody with longer than, let me just jump to 20 hours. Anybody longer than 20 hours? Wow. Okay. Raise your hand if it took you 25 hours. Really? Longer than 25? How many hours? How many? 26. 26. Wow. Okay, where'd you come from? Nigeria. Nigeria. Okay. So that's probably with all your layovers and things, it took you a whole 26 hours. Not the layovers, just the flight. Really? Wow. Wow. Okay, well, that's a long trip. Well, thank you guys again for being here. How many of you are undergraduate? Raise your hand. So getting a bachelor's degree. Okay, so no graduate students. Okay, all right, so all of you are undergraduate. How many are degree seeking versus exchange? So here on an F1 visa, raise your hand. F1 visa and J1 visa, right? Because you guys are here on exchange. Okay. For 1 semester or 2 semesters? 2 semesters? One, couple of, okay. So mix. All right. Cool. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about our services in the International Programs Office. So we do a variety of things in the International Programs Office. Some of that is, well, all of it has to do with international students. And so we admit the undergraduate international students, so admissions, academic advising, admissions and that. We have international and faculty scholar advising, we have immigration advising. So helping students with know the F1, J1 regulations, employment eligibility, all the immigration laws, and we liaison with government entities. And then we have to do study abroad, so helping students in the US go outside the US as well. So we do, those are our services in our office. We are on, if you haven't been there yet, we're on the top floor of the museum building. And we would encourage you to like us on Facebook as well, because you can get some of the announcements and events and things like that on our Facebook page. That's a picture of the front of the museum building. So it's even snowy in that picture. So we're on that third floor of that building, and you can kind of see us there. Like us on Facebook. So I want to introduce you to our staff. Is Khalil here? Yeah, okay. So I'm Sean. I'm the Associate Director of International Programs Office. Jesse is in the back. Jesse, raise your hand. A lot of you know Jesse from dealing with your visa and I-20 and immigration stuff. Nitin is in the back as well. He's our academic advisor. So he helps with classes and course registration and that kind of stuff, and helping you with your major. Khalil, can you step out? Okay. I'll introduce you to Khalil a little bit later. Kirby is sitting in the back. She is the exchange coordinator and study abroad coordinator. So a lot of you know Kirby, those of you who are exchange students. And probably a lot of you, most of you, through recruitment as well. I saw someone coming. Is that Khalil? Oh, there's Khalil. Right on time, Khalil. Well, I'm just introducing everybody. This is Khalil, and he works with our international faculty and scholars at the moment. So, and then we've got student workers who work with us. None of them are here right now. If they come later, I'll introduce them. So these are your advisors, and it'd be good for you to know who your advisors are. So again, Nitin is the academic advisor. There's his email address if you need to contact him. Jesse is your immigration advisor. So everything to do with immigration, if you have immigration questions, go to Jesse, and there's his email address. Khalil, again, is the faculty scholar advisor. So currently not the advisor for you right now, but that might change in the near future. But he's also very knowledgeable about immigration regulations for students, and I know he'd be happy to help you if you have questions too. In our office, you're able to come in. There's a variety of ways that you can meet with us. Because of COVID, we've gone to online appointments quite a lot. That's been those restrictions are lifted, so you can come in and meet with us in person. But if you'd rather meet online, we still have online options. So our one-on-one appointments options are in person, over Zoom, over the phone, just through email. Google Hangouts is another option. So if you go to this website, about IPO, there you can schedule an appointment with any of your advisors. And there's a booking page where you can select the advisor you want to meet with and select the time that you want to meet with them. And then you select how you want to meet with them, whether it's Zoom or in person or whatever you'd like to do. If you're in person, you just come to our office at your appointment time and meet with us there. Again, masks are required indoors. for all students on campus right now and staff. Faculty. We don't have walk-in times. Oh, actually, yeah, you can walk on in to drop off or pick up documents in our office. So feel free to just come in anytime if you need to drop something off or just get an appointment with us. And we don't take same day appointments. Any questions about that? About your advisors and what our office does? All right. So just some helpful tips when working with our office. Document requests should be submitted just as soon as you can. So there's a variety of things that you can request from our office. Letters that you might need for a visa renewal, for example, or a social security card, or there's a variety of things that we provide. When you make that document request, we just ask that you submit that as soon as you can, knowing that it might take a couple of days for us to process that, as we have a lot of documents that we're processing. An I-20 travel signature, for example, you'll want to submit that a week in advance if you can. 3 to 5 business days is our processing time for all documents. We also ask that you check your ISU email regularly. One thing you'll find out is that your ISU email is the email that professors are going to email you to. Same with us, we're going to email you to your ISU email. So be sure to use your ISU email, like your personal email. Or if you prefer to use your personal email, make sure you have all of your ISU email forwarded to that email. Don't miss out on and then use BangoWeb regularly. BangoWeb is your portal to the university. So you do all kinds of different things, submitting address changes, submitting, registering for your classes, all kinds of different things. So get to know BangoWeb very well, and that will serve you well. Like I said, we've got all kinds of we have all kinds of document requests that you can submit. So for immigration, for example, invitation letters, visa renewal letters, a reduced course load form. We'll talk about what reduced course load is. Extending your I-20 in your program, social security form, driver's license letter. Those are some examples of things that you can request from us. If you go to isu.edu/IPO/forms, that's where all of our forms are. Employment forms, if you need to work on campus, you'll need a social security form. If you need to work off campus, there are forms there to help with all that. So another thing to become familiar with as well. All right, just to highlight some upcoming events for you. We have a shopping trip that will be made available to you so that you can get transportation to get some things that you need. So we're gonna get a van and provide transportation to Fred Meyer, which is one of the stores here in town. And so that'll be tomorrow, Friday, January 7th, from 2 to 5. And what we'll do is we'll just meet in this parking lot right out here. So this parking lot, you probably have seen the clock tower that is on the student union building, at the student union building. So we'll just meet right at that clock tower, just outside here in this parking lot right here. So meet at the clock tower, 2 o'clock, and Kirby's gonna help drive you to Fred Meyer so you can purchase some things that you need to get you started. Also, Kirby can help you with campus tours. Kirby, do you want to tell us about campus tours just a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So I highly recommend doing a campus tour. You would go with one of our current students and they would show you, they can show you campus in general. They can also show you specifically where your classes are going to be. So if you would like to learn that before you actually start classes on Monday, they can show you around and take you to where each building is and show you where the classroom is. So if you want to do that, you can reach out to me and I'll schedule it with our campus tour coordinator.
Great. Be aware that you have 10 days after the start of classes to add and drop classes freely. So that 10-day period ends on January 24th. So January 24th is the last day that you can register or drop classes freely without getting a withdrawal on your transcript. Okay, so January 24th is the last day. And Nitin will probably talk to you some more about that. We also have a wellness workshop. It's about how to stay well, how to stay healthy. You know, this is a new culture, new food, new diet that you might be experiencing when you come to the US. And there are some things that will help you in this workshop. So we would highly encourage you to come to this. This is geared toward new students, but it's going to be open to any current students on the campus. So that'll be Thursday, January 27th, from 4 to 6, and right here in the same suites here. And then week of welcome. So the first week of ISU's campus, or first week of classes, is what we call the week of welcome. There are usually some various events going on. You can just go to the calendar and see what events there are available. That's the link to the ISU calendar. And then if there are other events that we have for you guys, we'll let you know by email. So again, check your email often. All right. So is Dr. Milan here? Yeah. Not here? Okay.
You want to talk about the fees too, when they have to pay the fee?
Yeah, so is it for this Friday? Right. So fees are due by this Friday. So sometimes they let it go until the day Monday, but I think technically Friday is the last day to pay a fee. So make sure you get registered for your classes. Nitin will go through, when he gives his presentation, he'll talk about registration, how to get registered if you're not already. He is your go-to guy for course registration. So, but yeah, and end of this week is the last day to get registered and pay the fees. So we'll have, I think what we'll do is we'll have just a little bit of a break. One of our presenters is not here just yet. And then, so we'll take about 5 minutes, and then we'll have a little bit of an icebreaker right after that, and then we'll go on to the rest of our presentation. So take about a 5-minute break right now, okay?
If you need to use the restroom, it's just at the end of this hallway on the left side. You want to push it?
What year? So you guys will all have the same one. It'll all be down on the. And that's the same address for all. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay.
We're gonna have a small activity, so if everybody can just go right over there with Khalil, we're gonna do a little bit of an icebreaker. Come on over, don't be shy.
Yeah.
And do your stuff.
Okay, the first person. come here a little bit and make like a circle. Like a circle here. If you make it a bigger circle, it's there. So you are all here to go to school, right? And I'm sure all of you are nervous. When I came as a student too, I was nervous too. The first time Mr. Shaw was my immigration advisor. When I came here, I'm from Afghanistan, everything was different. Food was different, people were different here, culture were different, the law was different, you name it, and it was different. It was really important. So by doing this activity, what we will do is actually we will find some kind of common ground between all of you, even though you are from different part of the world. Okay, but that's what brings us together, right? So I will ask them questions, and then you answer them by raising your hand, right? Because already it's that easy. That good? So who is not from America? So that's it. And if you one thing I forgot to tell you guys, just hold one of your fingers and just hold your hand like this in front of you. And then you will get the strength all around you, okay? Yeah. And then you can also go across to the floor. If it's too tight, make sure to, not to.
Yeah, I don't want to cut off
hurt,
fingers.
okay? Just hold it as, as light as possible. The circle. I will leave here now. Kirby will be in the middle.
You want me to connect?
You can connect, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Who likes food? Okay. So let's keep going.
Wait,
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
sure. I just gave her a
wait, can everyone like? Yeah.
Okay. So let's
because I
choose
texted her
two
before she
like
does,
food,
so
right?
she's either.
So who likes food again? Right? Okay.
And I'm just, I put the.
Who likes watching movies? That's you choose Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Who likes to read? Sorry. Thank you for helping me holding that one.
You like reading?
So, who is majoring in computer information systems? Who likes to help the other person?
It's getting dangerous.
Who likes coffee?
Oh.
So do one person at a time. For you. Yeah. Who likes to travel overseas internationally? You can choose whoever you want. If you can hold the app forward. Who likes Who likes reading on the computer rather than on the book? Physical book. Visually, musically. You can hold it up. Who likes ISU so far?
You said you like that, you said what?
Who liked the presentation so far today? Who likes math? Anyone math? I will come in the middle.
Did you say mud?
Who likes cultural activities or cultural celebration or enjoying being with other people? Learn about it. Who's majoring in political science? No. Who's majoring in biology? Who's majoring in engineering? Engineering. Okay. Who's majoring in business? Who is majoring in art? Yeah. Who's majoring in philosophy? Who's majoring in English? English, okay. Who likes to try food from different cultures? Who likes the snow so far? Who likes the ISU housing so far? The housing in your room? You like it? Okay, that's good. Who likes sport? who likes basketball?
I go sport.
And who likes working on the computer? Who likes to explore people different than their own culture? One question you guys want to ask? Who likes tea? So I think that should be you can see that you guys are all from different countries. You guys are here, and you thought you have only one thing in common to go to school here and give your education, right? But every strength you present that you guys have something in common here. So what it does is actually it connects you guys with each other. You know, that you guys can be friends from today on and just be there for each other and help each other. You know? With studying or joining the sports or any fun activity that you guys do, including, you know, coming to some of the presentation or maybe some of the cultural activities which we will have to do this on the side. But that was the whole concept of this activity, to tell you guys that you guys won't have only one thing in common, to come to ISU and go to school here, right? You guys have so much in common here, and you can see that, you know, some of you like food, you connect with some people who like to, some of you like tea, some of you major in computer information system, but overall, even though we are different part of the world, but once we come here at ISU, you know, we bring it all together. And we are, you know, we came from different cultures, different values, But your eyes, you're like a one time. So thank you for participation, guys. And if you can just let this drop it here and I will take it out. Just take a mental picture of this, okay? So remember that you are not alone here. You have a support group here. Okay? Thank you. I think I can go back to the team.
All right, thank you guys. Thank you, Khalil. All right. Jesse, we'll start with you. So Jesse's going to come up and he's going to talk about immigration. This is the one portion you might want to take some notes. I think we have some pens out on the table if you need a pen. But now would be a good time to take some really good notes about what we're going to talk about today, because it's hard to remember the things that you learn in orientation. You don't have to take notes all day, but this portion about immigration, probably an important one to take notes on. So I'll turn some time over to Jesse here. He'll go through some immigration stuff.
Does anyone want to get a drink first?
John.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and go over and get some coffee. There's some snacks there as well. We are going to have lunch later, and it'll be a really good lunch. And so that'll be at 12 o'clock. We handed out some agendas as well, so you kind of know what's going on this morning. So we're going to go from now until noon, and then at noon we'll have lunch together. But go ahead and hop over there and grab some coffee and some snacks so that you're not hungry. Okay, go ahead and do that, and then Jesse will get started here. And for the Zoom people. Need help you? Okay, good. So enjoy your snack or breakfast. Okay, everybody received their DS 2019 or I-20. What does CVS stand for? You know what CVS stands for? Anybody? Give it a try. S standing for student, then go ahead.
Student and visitors from something.
How about an E?
Immigration.
I
think it's students and exchange visitors information.
Good job, man. So CVS stands for Student Exchange Visitor Information System. Oh, they got something. Oh, okay. So this is the system where they track everybody that entered the United States, either you are on a tourist visa, F1 visa, and with any kind of visa. Okay, the official, once you arrive in the US, you went through the custom and we ask you to come report to the school. These are the documents that we need you to come in. For those who have not checked in yet, make sure you do that. Some of you did check in online. Some of you came in person, which is good. So you need to have a passport. You need to have your visa in the passport. Yeah, you need to have a visa unless if you're Canadian. You don't need the visa stamp in the passport. You need to have an I-94. You get the I-94 on our website, on the immigration website, cbp.gov/I-94. A copy of your ISU I-20 and or DS 2019 for the exchange student. And you need to have a complete address when you check it in. If you live on campus, is wherever you live in campus, we need a room number when you check in on campus. Please check in after orientation if you have not done so. This is our website, isu.edu/IPO. How many of you have been on our website? You've checked, oh, good. So go to our website. If there's anything that you think it's not working, yeah, you send us an email or call us, say, hey, I need this information. You might have some good idea that we don't have, so we can add that to on our website. So you need to be familiar with our website. Know where to get the information from. Do not talk to your friend. Use our website and call us for any advice. So since you already arrived here, when you go on our website, everything that you do, you're gonna have to go to forms and handout, and then click on current student if you want to work. For people that have requested social security number or driver's license, you go there, you're gonna get all the list of things that we do on campus here. So the first one is document request. That's where you go for any other thing that might be. The social security form is there, but you still need to do the first one. Once you click on that, it's gonna prompt you to a screen where you're gonna have to enter your name, then your ID and everything. So you follow the steps. Everything that's here, yes, student document request form. These are for sponsor student, which we have very few now. But if you want to extend your program, reduce costs for people who run into medical reason or whatever, all these forms are here for you. OPT or CPT, the OPT is for people who are in an advanced program about to graduate. By CPT, after 1 year, you can qualify to do that. But any other thing for driver license, use our document request to submit your request. Things that you need to know about the immigration and your visa. We have this group there here on a J visa, and we have student on F1 visa. Very, very important to know the rules. Do not, again, don't ask your friend about the rules because they might give you wrong information. If you have any questions, contact us. Your passport must be valid all the time. If for some of you have had maybe 1 year left, in a few months, you're gonna get an email that you have 8 months until your passport expired. Go ahead and contact your embassy in order to extend your passport. Your I-94 has to state DS, F1 DS or J1 DS. If there's an expiration date, you need to let us know so we can contact the immigration to fix it. So have a valid I-20. The I-20 or DS 2019, they cannot expire while you are in the United States. You can extend it if you're not graduating, or for J visa, anyway, you're a student, you have only for the period that you're living. It's 2 years. If it's 2 semesters, then you're gonna go home unless if the school allow you to extend it.
full-time credit. For undergrad, you need to take 12 credit hours. You need to sign up for 12 credit hours and attend classes. Because if you're not attending classes, you're gonna get what they call the X grade. The X grade, it means you're not attending class, you're not going to school, you get an X grade, but it has the same effect as an F, which is a failing grade. For graduate students, they need 9 credits. 9 credits. So make sure that you make your normal progress. Report your address changes. Every time you change, if after the week you want to change your address, come to the office or you submit your request online that you change your address so we can go ahead and update your information. The immigration allow you to do that within 10 days. Do not work illegally. I just had a conversation with one person. For those who just arrived, they said, you're gonna start working on the 5th, go ahead and start working. You don't need a social security number yet. Next week, after you register the I-20, you can go ahead and request a social security form. If the supervisor has some questions, you can call us. We can talk to them about that. Do not work illegally. So which means you're only allowed to work on campus. You cannot work off campus. Chuck Wells, which is our restaurant, it does not belong to ISU. It's an independent company, but because it's on ISU, the campus, it is considered on-campus employment. So you can work there, but you cannot work at McDonald's, you cannot work anywhere without permission. The reduced cost load, that's for people that will hear, these are the reasons that we can approve the reduced cost load. If you have initial difficulty with English, it doesn't mean that you're not understanding English properly. It might be the misunderstanding. The teacher said this one, for you, you have a different conception in your head. You can, don't hesitate to talk to your teacher because they might notice something is wrong and call us that, I think this teacher, this student does not belong here. You need some more English lessons. Then we can give you permission to drop the class and allow you to go below the required course. The second one is I'm familiar with the US teaching method. Sometimes people that come to the United States, I went through the same thing. You don't understand what the teacher is talking about. Everything is just not clear. So that's, you're not familiar with that. We can help you also reduce the cost load. Sometimes people can be placed in a higher level course and they find out that they don't really belong there. That's improper course placement. We can help you drop the class. The second one would be the medical recommendation. If you're sick, the doctor thinks that you cannot be in class for too long, you need to go part-time, we can allow you to do that. The final semester, when you're graduating, you have only one course left, we can authorize that for you to only take that one course. For graduate students, they might have only the thesis or dissertation left, and we can also give permission for them to only work on the thesis or dissertation. These are the only things that can qualify for reduced course load so that you don't get in trouble with immigration. Any questions so far? No? Muzukashi? No? Okay. Okay, so that was reduced cost load. So your immigration documents, try not to lose your documents. Your I-20, your passport. You don't want to lose your passport. The I-94 you can print online. The year 2019 by I-20, keep them in a safe place. Keep your passport valid, renew it 9 months before expiration date. Do not wait. Some countries are more organized, certain countries are not. They take a long time. Sometimes they don't even talk to you. So you make sure you start talking to them as early as possible. so they can extend your passport. So this is the US visa. Everybody has that one, unless if you are Canadian. Everybody got that one. So the US entry document, when you come to the United States, the CBP, which is the Customs and Border Protection, they need to see this visa stamp in your passport. There's a date here. It will tell you that from November through May, it means you have that time to enter the United States. And you can go back and forth. If it's expired, if you're outside of the country, after the expiration date, you need a new one. But if it's still valid, you can still keep on using the same visa because it's a multiple entry. So basically, this visa allows you to come to the airport, ask for permission to enter. So when you come here, the immigration gives you the I-94, which I talked to you about. That one cannot have an expiration date, has a DS, F1 DS or J1 DS. It cannot have an expiration date. Again, if there is an expiration date, sometimes we can overlook. Just call me and say, hey, Jesse, I think my I-94 has an expiration date. We can call the immigration, that will fix it. Okay, so the immigration, the visa does not affect your immigration status. Immigration status, which is your I-94, your visa is valid as long as you go to school. Only need to renew if planning to enter the United States. As I said, only after the expiration date, you can renew it. Any question? Yes, sir.
So I want to know for how long shall a student go back to see family?
No, you can go to see your family anytime. We have some people who are very, I don't know, they just love their parents. They travel, Canadian, they go every weekend. So you can go, I know if you're coming from Japan, Africa, that's a long way. Sometimes most of them, they wait until either Thanksgiving, Christmas, or spring break, and that's fine. But you can go, there is no restriction. Any other question? Good. Okay, so the visa information, we have it on our website. If you need to renew your, to renew any passport, your visa question, if you, sometimes people are afraid to get a visa in their home country, they prefer to go to Canada or Mexico. You can call the office, we can tell you how to do it. But you cannot renew that visa in the US. It has to be done only outside of the United States. The I-94, this is the website where you get the I-94. This information is the same information on your I-94. DS and F1 DS, this is the date when you enter, and F1, and it tells you that you can stay in the United States as long as you go to school. The DS stands for duration of study. Any question? So if you don't have that stamp in the passport again, let me know. You need to have that stamp. So if you, the I-94, you need that I-94 to get the social security number, to get a driver license. But if you don't have those documents, the Social Security Administration or the Department of Motor Vehicle, they might not be able to authenticate your information. So you need to have your I-94 with you. Okay, this is the I-20. You have your I-20, you have your DS 2019. Make sure your I-20 is valid. So on the I-20, the first page, it has your start date. It's gonna say January 10th through December of 2024. So make sure that you extend it before it expires. That's on section 5. So again, extend your I-20 before it expires. You're going to be receiving an email to remind you that we're using ISU email. I think we've changed it now. You might be getting email to both your personal and the school email. If you know that the personal email that you use to apply does not belong to you, let us know. You can change it on your website, right? Is that correct? Can they change the email address now? So yeah, so you make sure that you change it because we don't want other people to get your information. Keep update your I-20. It has to be always valid. Make sure the information on the I-20 is correct. If the educational level there's a mistake, we know we have had maybe 1 or 2 students that got an I-20 with associate degree. If you think that there was a mistake, you change your program through the department, you can update your I-20 and make sure the major that you have on your I-20, that's what you really want to be in. If you need to change, make sure you talk to the department. Your I-20, every time you want to travel for spring break, which is going to be in March, make sure we sign your I-20. Make sure we sign your I-20.
You travel outside the US.
Outside of the US. Sometimes we have very few students that like to enjoy life going on a cruise. Yeah, it's just safe to get your I-20 signed before you travel. So this signature is just telling the immigration that you are an active student and you're here legally. So make sure you get that signature, the second page signed. That signature is valid for 1 year. So if we signed it today, you're gonna need another one only next year. So you can be traveling all year back and forth with that signature there. So again, have a valid passport. Your visa must be valid. And if you're going to Canada, make sure you have visa to go to Canada. If you're going to Mexico, make sure you have a visa to go to Mexico. Some countries do not require a visa to go to Canada or Mexico. So if you do require to have a visa, make sure you have. Yep, good. Thank you. Any questions so far? No? Okay, good. You have a question. Go ahead.
You're talking about the driving license, for those who are international driving license, how is it?
Yes, so in Idaho, you can keep your driver license up to 5 years. But if you need one, you can get one. You come to the office, we're going to give you a letter, they will get you one.
Meaning that we can walk around and drive around with our international driving license?
Yes, yes. There's a bit only in Idaho. I don't know the other states. Other states might be different.
You can drive for the license, but if you want to buy a car, they still want you to have an Idaho license. That's what
So if you want to buy a
happens.
car, yeah. Mhm.
So if you are thinking of buying a car, you still need to get your license.
Yeah, maybe you want to buy a car tomorrow. Just make sure. you do
Yeah.
that. Okay? No? No? Okay. So that's it, no? Would be good?
All right, thank you, Jesse. Let me introduce you guys to Daria. Daria is one of our current students. She's been here, how long?
4 years, I'm
4
graduating
years.
in 4 years.
About
yeah.
to graduate, so. Daria works in our office, that maybe some of you might want to work in the international programs office someday, but I think Daria is liking it so far in our office. But yeah, what's your major again?
My major is accounting.
Accounting. Okay. So anyway, just wanted to introduce you to Daria. Also, just a quick note about the I-20 exchange students. You guys have a DS 2019, right? So that's kind of the equivalent to the I-20. So whenever we talk about the I-20, we're just talking about the document that the F1 students have, J1 students have DS 2019. You also have a travel signature space on your DS 2019. So if you have to travel outside the US or you want to go visit Mexico or something and come back, you need to have your DS 2019 signed for travel because Jesse and I would not have signed it. The I-20s, we usually sign the travel signature for the first year, but the DS 2019s, you'd have to actually come in and get it signed if you wanted to travel outside the US anytime during your stay here. So those of you staying 2 semesters, summer will come, maybe you'll want to go home for the summer and come back. Make sure you get your DS 2019 signed for reentry, okay? I want to talk about address updates. So one of the most important things you have to do as an international student is update immigration with your address. And the way that you do that is through Bango Web. When we created your I-20 and your DS 2019, we created a record in CVIS for you. And that CVIS record has your address. And when you first come to the US, you're going to get you're going to stay either on campus or off campus, and you'll have an address. And when we have you check in with our office, we have you give us your current address, and we update that in CVIS. We also put it in Bango Web. And Bango Web there's a couple of addresses that are linked to CVIS for you, okay? And so you need to make sure that you keep that address, those two addresses up to date, and I'll tell you what those are here. So again, you just log into Bango Web. Most of you have probably already done that. And when you log in, you come to this page, and over on the left-hand side, there's academic tools. You click on academic tools, and then down at the bottom, or it depends on each person, I think, but you look for student records, and under student records, there is the address update link. So update address and phones is what it's called. I think it's still called that. So you click on that update address and phones link, and then it takes you to this page where you should see your current mailing and resides at address and a permanent address if you have a permanent address. So as you can see here at the bottom, you got a mailing, permanent, resides at address, mailing, resides at, right? So your permanent address should always be your home country address. So when it comes to your permanent address, don't ever change that to a US address, because that's one of the two addresses that are linked to CVIS. So the permanent address needs to stay your home country address. It should already be in there because we got that from you when you applied to the university. So don't change that address. The other important address for CVIS is this resides at address. The resides at address is where you are living in the US, and that gets updated to CVIS. The mailing address can be whatever you want it to be. It can be your home country address. It can be wherever you want your mail to go from ISU. So when ISU sends you mail, wherever you want your mail to go, that can be whatever address. That is not linked to CVIS. But the resides at and the permanent address are linked to CVIS. Permanent is your foreign home country. Resides at is your US address, okay? So after this orientation, if each of you can go home, log into Bango Web, look at your addresses, and make sure that they're up to date, we will need that in order for us to register your CVIS record, okay? So if you don't have a resides at address, you can click the drop down button there, select resides at, click submit, and then you'll notice up at the top left corner it says resides at right there. So that that's the address that you're updating, and then you just fill this out with your current address, and then click submit at the bottom, and that will create a resides at address for you. Again, that comes into our system that we upload to CVIS, and that way CVIS knows where you live, and we can register your CVIS record for the semester. We have to register your CVIS record every semester. It's based on where your address and your registration with the university. So as long as you're registered for classes full time like you're supposed to be, and we know what address you are at, then we can register your CVIS record. All right, any questions about how to do the address? Make sure you do that. Make sure you check this after orientation sometime today. And that way we can make sure that we can register your record, okay? All right, let's talk a little bit about employment. International students, except for exchange students, this is specific to F1 degree seeking students. You're allowed to work on campus up to 20 hours a week. You don't have to get special permission for that, except you got to get a social security card, but you don't have to get any immigration permission to work on campus. It comes with being an F1 student. It does have to be on campus, so any employer that's physically on this campus, you can work for. It can be full-time during school breaks, so during the winter break, which is between, end of the fall semester in December, beginning of the semester in January, that's the winter break. You have a spring break, which is 1 week in March. And then you have the summer break, which is 3 months or so. And then you have a Thanksgiving break, which is 1 week in November. So during those breaks, you're allowed to work full-time over 20 hours a week. But when the university is in session, when we've got classes going on, then it's limited to 20 hours per week. Okay. When it comes to off-campus employment, you have to have prior authorization from IPO in order to do that. And there's only a couple exceptions to working on campus that allows you to work off campus. One of those is economic hardship or practical training. So what we would just ask you to do is come see us if you're interested in any of that. Basically, economic hardship is if when you first applied for your visa, you had to show that you had enough money to fund yourself. If your funding source is no longer available to you for whatever reason, because of economic hardship, maybe your family has economic hardship, you can apply for economic hardship through immigration. And so if you think you might qualify for that, just talk to your immigration advisor. Jesse can help you know if you qualify for economic hardship. Practical training is when you have to do an internship or need to do an internship. Then also come and see Jesse. He can guide you through that to see if you qualify for what's called CPT, curricular practical training, or OPT, optional practical training. Again, all of that has to be authorized by our office, or in a couple of cases, authorized by immigration. That's an application that you sent out to immigration. And it has to be pre-approved. Okay. All right. I want to save Nitin enough time here. So I'll speed through these last few things. Social Security. If you get a job on campus, then you're going to need a Social Security card. Also, you cannot get a Social Security card unless you have a job. So sometimes, you need a car or you need to purchase something and they ask for Social Security. If you don't have a job, then you can't get a Social Security card. But if you do get a job, you can apply for Social Security. What you do is you come into our office, we have a form, and then you take that form with you to the Social Security office. You start your job, then you go to the Social Security office and apply. Also, keep in mind that you cannot apply for Social Security until your CVIS record is registered. So are any of you already have an on-campus job? Raise your hand if you do. You do? Okay. And you haven't got Social Security yet, I imagine. So what I would ask you to do is, it takes us about a week for us to register your CVIS record. And your CVIS record has to be registered before Social Security will recognize that you're valid to work in the US. So what you'll do is you'll start your job, and it's okay to start your job without applying, and wait until the week of the 17th to go to the Social Security office. That way we have the first week of classes to make sure we get your CVIS record registered, and for that system to update the Social Security system in time for you to go and apply for your Social Security card. If you go before it's registered, they're going to say you're not in the system, sorry, they'll just send you away. So wait until the second week of classes to go to the Social Security office. Okay. Any questions about employment? Yeah.
Just a quickly, Eric, when you go to human resources to pick up your new hire paperwork, you don't need to even have a Social Security receipt.
Right, correct. You
Just
can
go with your paperwork.
get the paperwork, and then they'll tell you, we need you to give us your receipt as soon as you apply. So usually HR is pretty good about knowing that, but they've had a lot of turnover with staff there, so hopefully they're
I went there this morning, they told me that I also need to bring
the receipt. Yeah. That you can go ahead and start working. Just take the receipt to them that second week after you apply, and it'll be okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. In the end, your status is your responsibility. Again, like Jesse was saying earlier, don't rely on friends to get answers to questions about immigration. It's always best to get it from us. You might have friends that are at other universities and they've heard something from their advisors, but sometimes the immigration rules are applied a little bit differently depending on the university that you're at. So always get answers from us. So we do our best to keep you informed. We send you announcements when immigration rules change. But in the end, knowing your status and knowing the rules is your responsibility. So make sure you ask questions if you don't know something, okay? So that you can not fall into any pitfalls with immigration. Falling out of status with immigration is no fun. It happens. And we want you to be able to focus on school and not have to worry about immigration stuff. So we're here to help you and make sure you avoid those pitfalls that immigration can have sometimes. Before I turn it over to Nitin, let me just ask a couple of questions, see how you guys did with this information. How many credits does an undergraduate student have to be registered for? Yes. How many? 12, yes. And graduate students? 9? Okay, good. What were some of the exceptions to full-time enrollment that you can get a reduced course load for? Anybody remember any of them? Yes.
So language issue.
What's that?
I mean, language issues, you know, you get English.
Yes. Yep.
Medical issue.
Medical issue. Great.
So it's,
Okay. Any others? Anybody remember any
I
others?
think if you're put in a higher class.
Yeah. So improper advising. If you had improper advising about your class level or yeah, that was one. Okay. Any others? If it's your last semester and you don't have as enough credits, that was one. How about if you're failing a class? Can you drop out of that class? Get permission to drop out of the class? Anybody know?
you can drop the class as from January 24th.
That's true. That's true. You can drop your classes during the first 10 days. But immigration does not allow us to give you permission to drop below full time after that date, just because you're failing in class. So that's something to remember. If you're failing in class, I mean, we want you to do your best, but unfortunately, you won't be able to drop out of it. We can't give you permission. You have to be enrolled full time each semester. So, okay. Cool. Well, any other questions about immigration regulations at the moment? Yes.
So for those undergraduates, if maybe you're not able to stand for the 12 period, what will be the next step?
If you're not able to register for 12
I mean,
credits?
you register for the courses, you're taking the classes, but at the end of the semester, you didn't pass the class. You want class.
Right. Right.
What do you need to do?
Well, what we would have you do is talk to Nitin for one. Nitin can help you know what next steps you can take if you fail the class. What you might have to repeat the class. You might want to repeat the class. And Nitin will talk about that some more. But yeah, as far as immigration things go, there's nothing that you can do. You don't fall out of status right away. You have to make normal progress toward completion of your degree, and failing a class is, I mean, that's part of normal life sometimes. So it doesn't affect you right away. So failing class isn't going to make you out of status at the end of the semester. But if you continue to fail classes to a point to where you get dismissed from the university, then obviously that would affect your immigration status. You'd have to go home. And if you don't go home, then you fall out of status, right? So if you go on probation and then if you're on academic warning and then you get dismissed from the university, that's when you fall out of status. But just failing one class doesn't affect your status. But again, you want to get help from Nitin right away and help you know what to do. Any other questions? Okay, let's turn the time over to Nitin and he'll go through some academic advising. Thank you, guys. Clickers are down there.
All right, well, welcome to ISU. Good morning, everyone. My name is Nitin Shrivastava, and I am an academic advisor. And I'm sure you must have been receiving emails from me a few months or so. I would highly recommend that this is the right time to contact me if you want to make any changes or you want to register for any course. Okay. That's my address. You all know my email address because I have emailed you directly from my email ID. My phone number extension is 4465. And you can always make a Zoom appointment with me. I'm sure all of you have must have made a Zoom appointment at some time with me, right? So please feel free to do that. I can also see you in person, on phone or email. Okay, so please do not hesitate to contact me if there are any questions related to your classes or classwork. Okay, all right. So I'm going to walk over some of the basics of class registration. For those of you who are exchange students, some of the slides may not be applicable to you, but feel free to ask me if there are any questions. Okay, so as an international student, you should know who is your major advisor. Okay, so by default, I'm your advisor during your initial transition to ISU. I will help you in class registration during initial and general registration. On top of that, you will also have your major advisor. Okay. And your major advisor is listed on your degree books. All right, and I will show you where you can find the name of your advisor, depending on your major, but you can always contact me if you have any questions. All right. Then as you proceed towards your degree, you will, like once you are up, for some majors, they have only pre-program, which means that you have to qualify or finish certain courses before you are officially admitted to a program. Okay, for example, pharmacy or medical lab science. In that case, you will be assigned a department advisor once you are officially admitted to that department. Some of the things that I do as an IPO academic advisor is helping you during your initial class registration. If you have to add or drop a course, or if you want to add a late 8-week course, if you need any help during mid-semester, if you have any questions related to academic performance, if you want to explore majors and minors, because ISU has tons of majors and minors. Okay, so even if you're not sure what major you're looking for, you can always continue the dialogue with me. I can connect you to an appropriate resource, which will help you to find a major that matches your values, interests, and skills. Okay. If you have any questions on how to calculate GPA, scholarship requirements, or any other academic issues, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Okay. Okay, for those of you who are exchange students, I have helped you in your initial class registration, but please feel free to get in touch with your study abroad coordinator, which is Kirby. And if you are a graduate student, which means either a master's or doctoral student, you will be assigned a graduate advisor from your major department. Okay. So for class, if you're a graduate student, for class registration, you should directly contact your graduate advisor. This slide is more applicable to full-time degree-seeking students, undergraduate students. It's not applicable to exchange students. It's about math and English placement. You will be required to take a math and an English class to satisfy your general education objectives as well as your major requirements. So usually we accept TOEFL, IELTS, SAT, or ACT scores to help you get placed in an English class. If you do not have those scores, or if you do not meet the placement score requirement, let me know, okay? And I will coordinate with the English department so that they can place you in an appropriate English class. For math, if you do not have any ACT or SAT math placement scores, we conduct an assessment called Alex Math Placement Test. It's offered free of charge. You can take the test, and depending on your score that you receive in that placement test, you will be placed in an appropriate math class. All right. If for any reason you don't end up taking Alex placement test, or if you do not have any ACT, SAT, Alex score, and you want to brush up your math skills from the scratch, you have the option to take a class called Math 90. Okay, in Math 90, all you need to do is work at your own pace, pass the objectives, and pass what is called as exit exam or certain levels of math. For example, you can start with passing Math 15 level, then 25, then 1108, and 1143, which is college algebra and trigonometry. Okay. Now, there are a couple of math classes which require no prerequisite. So if your major requires Math 1123 and Math 1153, which is basic statistics, then you can just jump in their P sections, plus sections. All right. These two math do not require any placement scores. Does that make sense? Okay, and if you want to register for Alex assessment test, you can call the testing center. And I have sent you an email which has all the information about it. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions about this. Some of the registration tips I would like to provide is, first of all, if you are a full-time undergraduate student, you must be registered in 12 credits during your regular semester. And when I say regular semester, I mean spring and fall semester. Okay, summer is not considered as regular semester, so you may take class during summer if you choose to. If you don't want to take any class, that's fine as well. If you're a graduate student, you must be enrolled in 9 credits. Now, for undergraduate students, you need to make sure that out of those 12 minimum required credits, 9 credits must be in person. Okay, which means it should be offered face to face. If class, if your major doesn't have a lot of in-person classes, let us know right away. Okay, because some international students, they tend to go for a major which is only offered online. The curriculum is totally online, and you're not supposed to do that as an international student. Okay. So if you want to drop or withdraw any course, you must see me first. All right, because I can tell you whether or not you should withdraw or drop a class, and if you end up withdrawing or dropping a class, what options do you have? Okay, because Withdrawing or dropping a class can take you below full-time credits, which means you can go below 12 credits, and that will kick you out of your full-time status. Your class performance is evaluated on the basis of these letter grades, which ranges from A+ to D-, and also up to F and X. Now, F is a failing grade, and X is also a failing grade. However, the difference between F and an X is that X signifies that you haven't or you never attended that class. All right, and it can negatively impact your immigration status. All right, and F is not going to affect your immigration status because it would still show that you have been attending the class. All right, and it's just that your performance was not up to the mark. But X would also mean that not only your performance was not good, but you were not attending the class. So that's the major difference. So please try not to get an X in a course. All right. And again, your GPA is calculated on the basis of quality points and your total number of credits affected. The classification of your status is also based on freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior, depending on the number of credits you have accumulated. So if you have attained 25 credits or less, you will be considered as freshman. Anywhere between 26 to 57, you will be considered a sophomore. 58 to 89 as junior, and then 90 or more credits you will be considered as senior. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, so remember that in general, you are allowed to have a maximum of 18 attempted credits. Okay, in some major, this number goes up to 21, but in general, it's 18. All right, and you can add or drop a class within the first 2 weeks of the semester. The difference between dropping and withdrawing is that when you drop a class during the first 2-week window, that course will not be recorded on your transcript. Okay, and if you end up withdrawing a class, it means that you are trying to drop a class after the add drop period is over. That means after the 2 weeks are passed. Okay, so in that case, a withdrawn credit is considered as attempted credits. All right, so even though you will see the letter W on your transcript, that would just show that you tried to drop a class after the add drop period is over, and it will be considered as attempted credit. If you want to know more about the difference between drop or withdraw credits, please let me know. Okay, this is just the general overload. The other registration tip I would like to give you is that when you try to register a class, make sure that you select the appropriate term. So if you're registering for spring, make sure that when you go to Bengal Web and select add or drop link, your term should say spring, not summer of 2022. CRN is called course registration number. It's a unique number assigned to every course. All right. For example, English 1101 may have several sections. So English 1101 may have several sections. So how you're going to distinguish between those sections is it depends on the CRN number, because each section will have a unique CRN number associated with that. Then make sure you're choosing the right course number and the right section number. ISU has four satellite campuses. So because all of you are staying in Pocatello campus, try to take classes which are offered in Pocatello campus, right? If for any reason you're not able to find a class in Pocatello campus, please let me know. So under the campus column, you will see these codes. PC stands for Pocatello campus. IF stands for Idaho Fall campus. MD stands for Meridian campus. It's in Boise. And TF stands for Twin Falls. All right. You'll also see a code called HS. Those sections are reserved for high school students. You will also see different type of schedule type. That's the lecture delivery mode. You will see these schedule type as in-person, lab, web course, web supplemented, video conferencing, etc. The classes are offered through different modes. Like I said, as an international student, you need to make sure that at least 9 of your credits must be either in person or web supplemented. All right. If you're on waiting list, then you need to wait until your instructor contacts you and lets you know that there have been some seats that have been vacated, and then the instructor would let you take those classes if some seats are vacated later. Also, pay attention to the classes when, class days when those courses are offered. M stands for Monday, T stands for Tuesdays, W for Wednesdays, R is for Thursdays. Okay, so if you are selecting a class and it says that this class is offered on TR, it means that it's offered on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay. Also, make sure that there are no time conflicts between the two classes. Okay. If there is a conflict, then you're going to miss portion of your classes. Okay. And you should not go for it. Try to avoid that. Make sure you have a balanced course load in your first semester. I told you that the maximum allowed credits is 18. So anywhere between 12 to 15 is considered a balanced load. All right. Some students might be tempted to take 18 credits in the first semester, but I recommend that you start with anywhere between 12 and 15. Okay. So to add or drop a class, all you need to do is log into your Bengal Web. And once you are in the Bengal Web portal, on your left-hand tab, there is a link which is called Academic Tools. You click that, and then on the right-hand side, under Registration Tool, you select Add or Drop Classes. And then after selecting the right semester, you go to the actual add drop page and then try to register the classes. All right. I've also sent you a video which explains step-by-step on how to do that. Now, in general, if you are a degree-seeking student looking to graduate in a major, your curriculum basically has 2 portions. Okay. One portion is called General Education Objectives, where you take 35 to 38 credits in general education area. And then, of course, you will have major core classes that you need to take for your major requirements. Okay. So if you total these two, usually it comes out to be 120 or more. All right. But for most of the major, you need to have 120 credits. Again, there are some useful tools on the website. If you go to isu.edu website, there are certain features that will help you navigate all the major resources. And one of them is A to Z index. If you click on A to Z index, it would basically list everything associated with ISU alphabetically. Okay. For example, if you want to see what are the majors that are offered at ISU, you select the letter M and then go to the M section and select major. Okay. Once you select major, it will list all the majors offered at ISU. Okay. And then you can click on individual majors to find what are the requirements and curriculum and other information. Okay. Also, there is a directory section if you want to know, if you know someone at ISU, but you're not sure where their office location is or what's their phone number, you just go to the directory tab and enter the first or last name of that person and hit enter. After that, it will pull up all the information related to that person. Okay, so if you type my name, Nitin, it will pull up all my information, where my office location is, what's my phone number, what's my email address, and so on. Make sure that you read syllabus properly. Okay, your instructor will provide you the syllabus, just kind of the expectations from the instructor, and it will carry everything related to that course, including what's called office hours. All instructors are supposed to reserve some time to help students, and that's called office hours. Please do not hesitate to contact your instructor and seek help if necessary. It's totally fine to ask questions. Do not hesitate to ask questions. There are some cultures where asking openly questions is not considered respectful, but in the US, it's not the case. If you have any questions or problems, please feel free to reach out to your instructor. If you end up failing a class or getting a low GPA like D or D minus, give priority to repeating those classes immediately. So let's say you're taking Psychology 1101 in the spring and you get an F or a D minus in that class. It's important that you repeat the class immediately. Immediately means after the semester, which could be in the summer or fall. The reason being that repeating that class immediately would ensure that you're giving priority in improving the grades, and also the fact that most of the contents that you learn in that course will be fresh in your memory. Okay, it will be much better to repeat the class in the following semester as compared to repeating the same class after 2 years. Okay, if you repeat a class after 2 years, most of the contents that you learn may be erased from your memory. Also, be healthy. ISU has a lot of resources like outdoor adventure center. We have a great student rec center, recreation center. You please feel free to go there and spend some time. Remember, part of your tuition goes towards that. Okay, and these services are provided free to you, so please take advantage of them. If you are getting non-resident tuition fee waiver, make sure that you satisfy the criteria in order to continue that scholarship. Generally, you must pass 24 credits, including no repeated credits with 2.5 GPA after the end of 2 regular semesters to maintain that scholarship. Summer semester might be considered, but you need to take permission from the scholarship office. Okay? Also, it's essential that you know your resources. It's very important for your success. We have a great student success center. Okay, we have a representative, Jenna Graham here, who will provide you more information about the kind of services they provide. We also have a great counseling and testing center. Again, someone from the counseling and testing center will be here in a moment and to tell you the kind of services they provide. ISU has a bus service which runs within the campus, okay, and it's free of cost. So looking at the weather, if you don't feel like walking, remember that there is a bus that runs at regular interval. I believe it's J route, and you can take that bus if you have to, if you prefer not to walk. Okay. We also have a great career services center, and of course, our international programs office is always here to help. Any questions or concerns? Yes.
So I'm doing business, and there was a section you talk about English.
Yeah.
TOEFL requirements.
Uh-huh.
So from my first objective to the third objective, I'm having English, writing, and oral communication. Does that mean that if I show you my TOEFL test, am I going to cancel this requirement from my dashboard?
Yeah, so for English, if you recall, I sent you the list, placement list, depending on your TOEFL or IELTS or SAT or ACT score, you will be placed in an English class, okay, which means English 1101 or 1102. Now, if your score is not high enough to be placed in English 1101 or 1102, then I will coordinate with English department and make sure that you're placed in the right class. Does that answer your question? And I can talk to you individually after the session. Yes.
The status of all my registered classes shows web registered. Is that good? Because I know you spoke about lecture, web, something.
Mm-hmm.
So if they also web registered.
If it says web course in the location column, it means that's an online class. Now remember, there are some online classes which have no meeting time, and there are some online classes which require you to be online at a certain day and time. Okay, so irrespective of that, it will, both of those, in both the scenarios, it will be considered as an online class, whether it has a meeting time or not.
One thing though, I think what he's seeing is web registered.
Oh, web
That just means
registered.
that he registered
That just means you registered with the portal.
with the
That-
portal.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
fine.
It doesn't mean that it's a web course. So you'd have to look at the location or something.
Yeah, and I can check your schedule after this session.
And also, the amount of credits we are taking is here based on the tuition, because I wanted to take more than 12 credits. I don't know if I should pay more than what I'm expected to.
I'm sorry.
I mean, we intended to take 12 credits as international students, right?
That's the minimum.
Yes.
Minimum, you have to take 12 credits, and 9 credits must be in person.
Okay.
Okay, you can take up to 18 credits if you want, but I just spoke about balanced schedule. 15 credits is considered balanced for your first time.
Okay.
Of course, if you end up getting good grades, that will give you confidence to even take 18 credits next semester.
Okay.
But in your first semester, it's always good to start with a balanced coursework.
The next question is like, if I'm taking more on 12 credits, I should pay more on.
He
So-
pays more.
Huh?
If he pays more, if you take more credits, you pay more.
No. You just pay for the 12 credits, and you can add as many credits you want for the same tuition. Okay, you don't have to pay more if you take more than 12 credits. 12 is just the minimum. You have the option to go more than 12. Any questions? No questions? Now, for exchange students, some of the slides that I talked about, not applicable to you, so don't worry about it. But if you need any help in changing the schedule or adding a dropping class during the first week, please feel free to let me know. Okay? All right, thank you, everyone. We have Jana from Student Success Center going to present our slides. I told you that Student Success Center is a great resource for you, and she's going to talk about the services they provide.
Hi, I'm really glad to be here. As Nitin said, my name is Jana Graham. I'm the director of the Intensive English Institute here at ISU, which is part of our academic success and advancement program. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about the academic support and the language and cultural support that are available for you as international students. Firstly, to talk about academic success and advancement programs. This is a group of programs mostly free of additional charges to enrolled students. The Student Success Center that Nitin was referring to is our home office in the Rendezvous building. That's actually a picture of it. And the two programs that I'll be talking about today that I think will have most relevance for you are university tutoring and again, the Intensive English Institute, which I direct. Our main offices are located in the Rendezvous building. I know you've probably looked around campus a little bit or certainly looked at a map. I've provided here a different sort of map that we use with our language students that's easy for them to navigate. We are actually right here, right now, and our main offices are located there in the Rendezvous building. So it's not hard to find. We're on the 3rd floor. And if you need any sort of help, if you make it to the 3rd floor of the Rendezvous building, somebody will find you and help you out. So the first service that I wanted to tell you about is the Writing Center. This is a tutoring service that's available to all ISU students, and it's very popular. So any written assignment that you have for any class or any level, you can take to the Writing Center and meet with a tutor who can help you identify ways to improve that assignment. Most of the people who go to the Writing Center will make an individual appointment with a tutor. We are doing those in person. And of course, right now, also you can do an online, like a Zoom appointment or a video chat appointment. So starting on January 18th, those individual appointments will be available for this semester. If you go to the website for the Writing Center, you'll also find many handouts or documents about specific writing skills that will be relevant to you as you're creating or completing your assignments at this university. I've included the contact information here, which is going to be mostly the same for these programs. But there is an individual website just for the Writing Center that you can access. And if you give me your contact information, I can send you all of these slides by email, so you don't have to worry about copying all of this down. Okay, next, the University Tutoring Program also has a math center. Again, no fee for you. This is all paid for by the student fees that everyone pays when they pay their tuition. And this is for any math assignment, any class at the undergraduate level. We don't do individual appointments. This is run as more of an open group lab. So in Rendezvous 327, you don't need an appointment. You just show up starting on January 12th during the open hours, and you can get help on any math assignment that you're working on. From algebra to calculus and pretty much anything in between. There's qualified tutors that are staffing the lab. So as you're working on an assignment, you can request help with a specific problem. And the Math Center website gives you information about the operating hours. Okay, we also offer what's called content area tutoring. We call it CAT for short. This is any tutoring that you might need that is not writing and not math. So if you're taking a biology class or a health sciences class or a psychology class or a physics class, and you want some extra help in understanding the material and completing those assignments, you can get help for no additional fee through university tutoring. So we do offer individual appointments. We also offer small group appointments. So if you are in a class, like a biology class, and there's 2 or 3 people who are having similar questions, the 3 of you can meet together with a tutor at a designated time to get help with all of those questions. Again, this is in person, and we also do it via Zoom, and you can access that website if you want more information about that. Okay, now those services, Writing Center, Math Center, and Content Area Tutoring, that's available for all ISU students. We also offer special international student tutoring, which is a little bit different than any of those. So if you feel like as an international student, you have questions that may have a language component or a cultural component, any assignment or any class, you can get more intensive help with that work. So these are going to be individual appointments, working with me or another tutor that focus a lot on language and culture, and probably mostly on your written assignments and any oral presentations that you have to complete. We meet in person mostly, but Zoom is also an option for you. The contact information, you can call or email the Intensive English Institute directly to set up an appointment. Now, I should say, as I said, I'll send you these slides if you want them so that you have all this information. We are in the process of transitioning to a new appointment model, and Nitin, maybe you'll be able to help them out with that. It's called Navigate, and it will be an app that students are using to access some of these resources. For now, I'm recommending that you go to these websites to get the most up-to-date information. And when we start using that app, which should be really soon, we will also send information about that. So it will be really clear how to do that, do those appointments. And Nitin is totally up to date on all of that. So if you have any questions about Navigate, the app, you can ask him also. Okay, we offer a specific class for international students that focuses on American culture and the university experience. It's called ACAD or ACAD 1106. And there's no additional fee to take this class as long as you're paying your tuition and fees as a full-time student. So in answer to your question, if you wanted to, if you had 12 credits already and you wanted to register for the ACAD 1106, you could do that without paying any additional fee. So this focuses on US cultural values and the expectations that you might find at American university. We focus a lot on cultural analysis, on cross-cultural communication skills, and this is a great place to get help with any questions that you have specifically as an international student. If you ever wonder why your professors are asking you to do certain things, or why your classmates behave in the ways that they do, or why an office is organized the way that it is, this is a great class to learn more about some of the values that this university is operating with. We do offer one section every semester, and that will be in the what we call late 8 weeks. We call it late 8 weeks because it's the second half of each semester. So this section begins actually in March. So from March 7th to May 6th, 2022, this semester, it's an 8-week, 3-credit class. The schedule for this section is here Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I didn't use the R, Nitin, sorry. I should have reinforced that. From 12 to 1:15 p.m. If you have a slight scheduling conflict, feel free to talk to Nitin or talk to me. For example, if you have a class that begins at 1:15 and you feel like you might have to leave this class early to make it there, that's fine. We can usually manage that. I just think this is a really great class for international students. We learn a lot, we have a great time. So if you want to take it, we can figure out a way to make it happen. Okay, we also at ISU offer an accent modification evaluation program, or AME. You'll hear people in the program refer to it as AIM. This is low cost. It costs $35 per semester to the clinic. And this is a collaboration between the Intensive English Institute and ISU's Speech and Language Clinic. What this is students who are studying to be speech therapists need to practice what they are learning. And they love to practice on people who are not speaking American English because they can help with pronunciation issues that you might be thinking about. I know that most of you don't have any problem with your English and you probably feel pretty confident about it. But if you feel like you want to learn to sound more like American style English, or if you feel like sometimes people are having a hard time understanding you, this is a great program to help with certain exercises that will help you change that pronunciation. So the people who work with you are called clinicians. They will identify pronunciation issues that you have that are specific to you and help you learn strategies for articulating or saying sounds that are difficult for you. We don't have any problem with accents at ISU, but sometimes students enjoy this work because they feel like it improves their fluency. It improves their ability to use English comfortably in the US. So throughout the semester, you will schedule up to 2 meetings per week with an individual clinician. And the only requirement, aside from the $35 fee, is that you fill out an intake form. That's just a few pages. And you have to provide a speech sample. And that's just a couple of minutes on Zoom. I will record you talking about something easy, and then the clinic will use that to help create a plan for you. So if you have any questions about this, please let me know, because there are just a small number of spots available this semester. If you want one, let me know as soon as you can so we can reserve that spot for you. We do, at the IEI, offer international student workshops. These are free for you, and they are based on student need and student interest. So there are many topics that might be of interest to you. If you see that paper that Nitin handed you, there are several ideas there. Things like academic integrity or academic honesty, how to cheat in the US versus how to cheat in your country. It's really different. How to write an email in a professional way. You may have noticed that American universities rely heavily on email to communicate instead of instant messaging. And there are rules for creating an email that looks professional and intelligent. How to participate in class discussions, how to do oral presentations, and many, many other topics. Some of our most popular over the years have included American idioms and American slang. Slang words, taboo words, just so you understand how your classmates are talking. Holidays and celebrations and American dating customs, or I always say romantic traditions, and I'm not sure if that's the correct phrasing. But these are all potential workshop topics. You are welcome to suggest others if you feel like you would like to learn more about something. Write it down on that yellow paper that you've got, and I'll make sure to schedule that for you. Lastly, this is me and my contact information. My office is in the Rendezvous 3rd floor. I'm really easy to get a hold of, especially if you send me an email. I do teach a lot, so email is probably the quickest way to contact me throughout the day. You do have that yellow paper. If you fill out your contact information, tell me a little bit about yourself. I will make sure to send you these slides so you have all this information in front of you. And then I'll let you know of any updates as far as academic and cultural and language support throughout the semester. Do you have any questions? Yes, please.
So you were talking about the American culture and the university experiences.
Yes.
So I want to know if taking this class is towards the degree, the credit are going towards our degree, because we don't really have expectation for that class. You said maybe, for example, if I'm going to business class, and it's time for me to go, I can leave the class. So I want to know if taking that class will count the credit towards the degree.
It doesn't fulfill any of the general education requirements, but it does carry 3 credits. So if you need the 3 credits for any reason, and Nitin can talk to you more about, maybe you want to jump in. Nitin.
So for your business major, they also require you to take some electives. Okay, I believe it's 10 to 12 credits of pre-electives. Okay, because after you add your major requirements credits and your education credit, it will sum up to 108. But in order to graduate, you can have 120 credits. So that extra 12 credits can be used as pre-elective that we take in federal 11 or 6, you can count towards that.
Any other questions? I should say that this section of ACAT 1106 this semester is half full already. So if you want to make sure you have a place, I would go ahead and register for that as soon as you can. Nitin can work with you if you feel like you need to withdraw a class later. Because this is a late 8-week class, this can also be a good option, but Nitin will work with you on that. Okay, I'll make sure to collect those yellow papers before I leave. And if you have any other questions, just let me know. And thank you, Nitin, for including us on the schedule. Okay.
Thank you, Jana.
Thanks, Sean.
All right. We are at Counseling and Testing, so our friends Cheryl and Megan from Counseling and Testing Center are here to talk to you. And then we've got Khalil will say some things, and we've got lunch being prepared. So they're going to set up lunch over there, and then we'll go to that point. So please welcome Cheryl and Megan.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. It's great to be here. We're excited to talk to you today about navigating cultural differences and how counseling and testing can help you with that. So my name is Megan Osler. This is my colleague Cheryl Yee. She is a social worker at over at the Counseling Center, and she's great for so many things, and she knows all the resources on the campus and around the community and what's available to you to help you find success too. So if you're looking for resources, Cheryl is your go-to person. She's great. And at CATS, we have a number of amazing counselors. I don't know how many there are, but exactly, there's quite a few. But they are all great, very knowledgeable, and willing to help you through your experience. And my name is Megan Osler. I'm a student here. I'm in the Masters of Social Work program, and I'm doing an internship with a program called CALM, as well as the Biofeedback Center, and I'll talk more about those in a minute. So CAT stands for Counseling and Testing Services. And I want to point out that all of our services are confidential and free to all currently enrolled ISU students. So they're very accessible right now for everybody, which is awesome. It might be the one time in your life where counseling services are this accessible and easy to access. I just want to mention too about counseling and cultural attitudes and differences when it comes to counseling and perceptions around that can vary widely among different cultures. And sometimes there's some stigma around getting counseling services, and not only in other cultures, but here in the United States as well, there can be stigma around it, and it can be perceived as, you know, a sign of weakness or a negative reflection on family or different things. And the way I like to look at counseling is like exercise for your mental health. So we have our physical health, and we have mental and emotional health as well. And with our physical health, when we get sick or hurt, we typically go to the doctor and, you know, get that taken care of. And you know, we also take care of our physical health in times of wellness too. We exercise and we eat right, and we do things to take care of our bodies so that we can do the things that we need to do. And I think counseling is the same. Sometimes we have challenges that come that are overwhelming and hard to face on our own, and we need a little extra help and support. And also through counseling, we learn skills to exercise our mental health so that we can confront the challenges. And so I also like to look at it like, if you're an athlete and you have a coach, your coach helps motivate you and encourage you to do things that you wouldn't normally otherwise do on your own. And I think counseling is the same too. So we definitely want you to have academic success here at ISU, and attending to your emotional health is a really important part of that. So as I mentioned, all of our services are free and confidential, and some of the challenges that you might be facing and all students might be facing are adjustment challenges. And this is probably particularly for our international students who have a lot of new and different things to adjust to. Managing stress and emotions. I think every single college student, whether you're an international or domestic student, deal with stress. We all have stress, and it's something that's normal and it's natural. And stress doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing. Stress is something that can help us and motivate us and can prepare us to deal with the challenges that are before us. So we all experience that, and sometimes it becomes too much and overwhelming, and we need a little extra help, and it can lead to problems with depression and anxiety, and that's very common. I think a lot of people we know are walking around feeling depressed and anxious, and probably more so than we realize. Also, relationship concerns. Overcoming trauma is a big one. So whether that's past trauma or current trauma, it can have a huge impact on our academic success and on our functioning in other areas of our life too. So our counselors are there to help students process and overcome any trauma that they've been through. Also, identity and confidence concerns. ISU has some great resources for our LGBTQ population. In addition to counseling, there's some really great resources out there to support and help those students. So in addition to our counseling services, we also offer professional testing services, such as the ALEKS testing and GRE and entrance exams, and some certification and licensing exams. And some professors may send you to the testing center to take proctored exams. So I just want to mention also that if you come up to the counseling center for testing or counseling, that face coverings are required for that. And if you have any questions about testing or exams, you can call our center and you can answer those for you. So if you're interested in starting counseling services, to do that, the first thing that you do is call CAT at 208-282-2130. We are there Monday through Friday from 8 to 4. And when you call, we'll get you in the system and schedule an appointment for you. They'll send you some paperwork to fill out. And then they'll set you up with a Zoom appointment with a counselor to do an intake appointment to get more information. And in that appointment, you and the counselor will discuss which services you feel would be most beneficial for you. And we offer a variety of different services for students. And like I said, all of these services are free for currently enrolled students. We have individual counseling, group counseling, and group consultation. Just a note on group counseling, we've got some great therapy groups. There's 4 different groups: understanding self and others, anxiety action, mindful self-compassion, and the Be Better Today group. They're all led by our amazing counselors. They're great. We also have CAT Connections groups, which I'll talk about a little bit too in the end. We have one specifically for international students. And you don't have to call the center to register for the CAT Connections groups. You just go online and register with the link provided. In addition to individual group counseling, we also offer biofeedback services for students. This is what I do, and I love it. Is anybody familiar with biofeedback and what that is? No. So biofeedback is a really amazing tool for stress management. Some students have a lot of anxiety, test anxiety or performance anxiety. Athletes often have performance anxiety. Some students have panic symptoms that are kind of hard to control. And so biofeedback is really great for all of these things: stress, anxiety, panic, and some depression too as well. It can help with that. And what biofeedback is, it's really cool. It's usually a very brief treatment, usually 1 or 2 sessions, sometimes more depending on the need. And we connect you to some sensors that will measure your body's physiological processes, like your breathing and your heart rate. And then you get to see it right up there on camera or on the computer screen. And it's really cool to see how your body is responding to stress and relaxation. You can see it all in real time. And through that, you learn effective ways that your body manages stress and emotional difficulties, and practice skills for relaxation and regulating your nervous system, kind of like I talked about the mental health exercise, that you're exercising your nervous system to help you more effectively respond to stress. And the key to biofeedback, I think, is to make sure that you practice the skills that you learn in biofeedback. We find that the students who are most successful and show the most effective results of biofeedback are those that practice it and put it in practice. And it can really make a big difference in our stress and our ability to manage that. And so we meet in person in the rec center. While we're in person, we usually put our clients in one room and we're in another room and we're talking to each other through Zoom. So we're still maintaining social distance that way. Any questions about biofeedback?
I do want to say that biofeedback is kind of amazing because you'll see on the screen when my body is anxious, when I'm stressed about school or work or friendships, you can see what your body is doing, and then you practice relaxation skills to calm it down. And you can see on the screen like, oh, when I breathe like this, low and slow, that it calms me down and that you'll feel better. And so if you've ever had a lot of stress with school or worries about things, if you can actually like see that you have some power over calming that stuff down, and it feels really good to see that.
Yeah, it's really cool to see it in real time like that, because it builds that self-awareness where we can recognize when we're getting activated, and it helps us recognize that more in the moment. It's an amazing tool. Okay, so we're just going to take a few minutes and just do a little icebreaker activity and have you guys just stand up and walk around the room, step outside of your comfort zone a little bit and talk to somebody. Just you know, there's different, you have questions here, you can ask your own questions.
We want you to sit with other people,
Yeah.
meet new people right now. So everyone stand up.
Yeah.
Everyone like change places and get to know some other people.
So we'll just take a couple minutes to do that.
So how did you find? And then on campus, we don't have kitchens.
Did you finish your
practice? During the summer or this.
That I know label. Yeah.
I'm gonna give you guys just a couple more minutes.
Yeah, I did the same. I was just like early on. And, yeah, so now it's
You guys can all sit down. I'm glad that you guys are meeting each other. You can sit with your new friends, or you can sit where you were sitting. It's all good. Glad you guys are meeting each other. So I heard people from Japan, Nigeria. Where else are people from?
So, Abidjan,
Say it again.
Abidjan, Ivory Coast.
All right. And where are you from?
South Korea.
South Korea. Welcome, welcome, you guys. I do want you to know that Megan runs a CATS Connection group for international students. And we're going to share some more information about that. But it is a place, counseling and testing like kind of oversees it, but really it's not a therapy group. It's just a place to connect and make more friends with different identities. And we have other connections groups, one for graduate students, we have one for students on the autism spectrum. We have one that's starting up for veterans, and we just have lots of different people. We teach one for students with chronic health conditions even. If you have asthma and it's affecting your life, right? Like that's a chronic health condition, and being able to kind of talk about it and how it's affecting things. It's nice to have other people who kind of understand some of their situations. But we're gonna move on. I'm from Arizona. Who has noticed big changes from your home country coming to Pocatello, Idaho? Has it been different? I would think so. I'm from Arizona, and it was very different for me even. Like I had some culture shock in coming to Pocatello, because even though it's the same country, Arizona's hot. I had never lived in the snow before. Whose first time is this for snow? Yeah. You have a nice little jacket there. Well done. But like learning to dress for the snow is a big deal because it's no fun to be cold. Who has been in other places in the United States from Pocatello? And is this pretty different? Where were you before?
Utah.
In Utah. Kind of the same, pretty similar in some ways.
Colder here.
It's colder. And depending on where you were in Utah, like Salt Lake is like huge city versus Pocatello is one of the bigger cities in Idaho. And I'm from Phoenix, where there's like 5 million people now. And so, this is very small to me. But there are students who come here, domestic students from Idaho, who come here and have some shock because they may come from a town that has 200 people, and they feel like Pocatello is a huge, huge city and very overwhelmed. And for some of you, this might be a very small city, right? So like recognize like it's all different. Everyone goes through some transition here. We're going to talk about the adjustment process in coming here, because there's 4 phases to adjustment to being in a new place. And sometimes that adjustment lends itself towards some culture shock. But when we first arrive to a new place, there is a honeymoon phase. You feel pretty good. Everything's kind of exciting, it's new, and it's just kind of fun. It feels pretty positive because it's something really new. But after a little bit, you might start to feel a little bit like everything's different all the time. I have to think really hard all the time. Does anyone ever feel like their brain is full after spending so much time trying to speak not your native language or things like that? Like it takes a toll on you, and you might feel some of the time or a lot of the time. But that is kind of when culture shock kind of gets in. It's when it feels a little more frustrating and not so enjoyable. And things that were really adorable and funny in the honeymoon phase are super annoying and frustrating as you go into like the next phase. Things can become really irritating. And so just like recognize like this is like a normal part of the process of this adjustment. The next phase is just negotiation. You're learning to adjust, you're achieving more acceptance of like things are different. I'm not going to expect everyone to change to like what I'm expecting, but you're going to find a little more balance in your emotions about, oh, yeah, something's different. Didn't know it was that way. That's not the way we do it back home. It's not the way I would. It doesn't make any sense that you're doing it that way, but I can accept it and move on from that. And you can kind of start to relax and then feel at home. And that's kind of a nice space to be. Adaptation is just the next phase. It's where you have such a high level of comfort here that it might even be that when you go home, you might experience a little bit of culture shock. We'll be like, oh, it's like this again. But it's adaptation means that you're just in this final stage of adjustment and that you're feeling pretty comfortable you know how to navigate things, you know how to navigate situations in a different way and feel comfortable with that. And I want you to know, like, throughout this process, it's all normal. Like, it's normal to go through a honeymoon phase. It's normal to feel really annoyed and irritable about some of it, and then to kind of be able to accommodate it and feel okay with it. Like, that's just a normal process. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong. It's just, it is what it is. Just like the process of, you know, childhood. You start out as a baby, you learn to crawl, you learn to walk. It's all just part of the process of learning mobility, and this is just the adjustment to a new culture. This is just some areas to navigate in US culture, Idaho culture. Friendships. You're gonna meet lots of different people who you're gonna have some relationships with them and not want to be friends with others, and it's all good. How do you interact with your friends at home? And are you staying connected with people back home? Stay connected with people. Are you reaching out and trying to make friends here? That was why I'm like forcing y'all together. It's because I want you guys to connect, build friendships with each other, build friendships with people on the campus in your classes, joining clubs, participating. I want you guys to just build relationships. Some things might be different. Some cultures may spend less time with people of the opposite sex in certain situations. Here, it's like, I met one who was like, we didn't have like co-ed dorms. It's like, yeah, co-ed dorms, it's all fine. How you dress, right? I'm glad you guys are wearing coats, but like making sure that you can dress for what you need over here. Ask people if you're like, I'm cold all the time, I do not know. Like, it's all about layers and layers, you know? So you can take pieces off when you are too hot and put more on when it's too cold. How do you guys greet one another back home? How do you greet friends? How do you greet family? I like to smile, and none of you can even tell that with a COVID mask on, right? But some cultures will hug each other and kiss each other, and some people you don't. Some won't do that. It's okay to, like, you might have someone who like runs up and hugs you, and you're like, I'm not ready for that. You can tell them, no, thank you. Let's shake hands. Sometimes people aren't. I noticed some people were shaking hands. Some people may not want to shake hands because of the pandemic. Right? We all worry about getting sick. But just recognize, like, you can like greet people however you're comfortable. And if someone greets you in a way that's uncomfortable for you, I want you to have permission to like say, I'm not really comfortable with the kiss on the cheek or whatever it is. Okay. Schedules. Some cultures are pretty lax in the way of time. Here at the university, like if you have a class that's at 1 o'clock, that professor is really going to expect you to be there at 1. It was really nice to hear Jana say, like, if you needed to leave early to go to a different class, that she's comfortable with that. She's giving that permission, but some people aren't going to want you to show up late. So like, it's okay to like talk to your professors about that. But mostly they're going to want you to be on time. And if you're not going to show up for a class, you may like let the professor know or things like that. And I want you to know, like professors, some people have come from other places and they're like, I didn't ever really talk to my professors. Here, they expect you, like, if you don't understand the material, they are all going to have hours that you can go in and touch base with them and try and get clarification. There's the tutors that you can talk to the professor too. And they would want that. They would want to know, like, if there's anything you're struggling with so that they can better prepare you for your exams and things like that. So I want you to know that the professors are really open to be able to talk to you, and I want you to take that opportunity when you need that. With culture shock, and that second phase when things get hard, has anyone gone through that before? Anyone struggle with that? Okay. These are the signs when it is severe. Okay, so It's feeling extreme homesickness. You just want to be home. You don't want to deal with the people here. Sometimes when people are very homesick, they may even isolate and avoid going out with friends, especially those who don't share your culture. Sometimes people are feeling a lot of conflict between the values that they had from their home country to what they're seeing going on here, and that can be really disturbing. And I want you just to kind of recognize like where there may be conflict and like see it for what it is. Like, oh, this is not the way they do this back home. I feel uncomfortable with this. And you can choose to accept that or accept other people doing it and not participate, or you can choose to like try it and see what it is. But I want you guys to just know like it's normal for this to happen. Also, you might when culture shock is severe, you may have trouble concentrating. You might feel really tired all the time, right? Because your brain is full. You're taking in like so much information. Will that affect school? It can, okay? If you can't concentrate in your classes, you may not do very well. And so like recognize like if this is happening, not everyone gets really severe symptoms of culture shock, but culture shock is going to be common and it's a normal process for you to go through in coming here. You might start to feel very angry, confused, frustrated, and not have a sense of humor anymore about all of this. You might feel pretty negative towards the host country or the people here. You might stop sleeping well. You might lose your appetite. You might experience some health problems like having headaches a lot or stomach aches or things like that. These are symptoms of when it's getting severe. And I want you guys just to know that this could happen so that you can address it. Because sometimes we want to not pay attention to those things because it's not what we expected to happen to us. And we want to avoid it. And the more that we push it down, the more it's going to pop up in your face at some point, right? It's kind of like holding a ball under the water. And you can only hold it down for so long before it pops up. These are the strategies to use if you see this culture shock impacting you or changing your functioning in some way, like if you're not eating well or not sleeping well. Admit that these impacts are happening. You gotta recognize it and look it in the face. Make some friends, develop relationships, getting to know people here so that you can say, hey, I don't understand why you're doing this. Being able to like ask them, like, this isn't the way we do this back home. You know, like, can you tell me why we're doing it this way? That could be helpful to like open up conversation and feel safe to be who you are and be authentic. Do some things that remind you of home. If you have some traditions of things like, you know, back home, I would go for a walk. So I might go for a walk here. If you need, you know, my son, my last name is Yu, so my in-laws are from China. And my son still loves having like the tea that his grandmother makes. So he likes to incorporate that. But these things that will boost your spirits, these hobbies that you enjoy. Learn the rules of living in a town. That's where you just ask people, like, why are you doing this way? Who lives in some place where people drive on the left side of the road? Anyone? Where you drive on the right side of the road, right? You gotta know why we're, gotta go on the right side of the road or you're gonna get an accident. Like learning the rules of living here and participating in these things. Be curious. You can ask a question. It doesn't mean anything's wrong. It's great for you to ask. And people want to share, like, oh, we do this way, whatever. Get involved in some aspects of culture. Like if you like doing sports, learn a new sport here. If you like really anything. We are so close to several national parks. Go and visit those. Participate in those things. Mostly take care of yourself. If you find that you're not sleeping well and not eating well, pay attention to that and make sure that you're eating, make sure that you're sleeping, drinking lots of water, spending time, connecting with other people. Travel. Mostly be patient with yourself. Because this is a normal process and you know, like, after the culture shock, there is this adjustment phase, there is like the ability to accommodate, like recognize that. And so be patient with yourself. But if the symptoms are getting so difficult, I would want you to reach out for help. Come to the counseling center. Come and just talk to someone. We do individual counseling, like one-on-one, and it's all confidential. We even see people just for like a one-time thing, like just someone might say, I'm just really struggling with this. I just need to talk it through. And then they don't need to come back again because they've been able to kind of talk and feel like, okay, all of this is starting to make sense. Talk about cultural misunderstandings versus discrimination. If there was ever discrimination, if you felt someone was targeting you because you're from another country or a person of color or anything like that, I would want you to speak up about it. I would want you to talk to someone about it and say, hey, I feel like, you know, this is happening, and be able to process that there are people that are more than willing to talk to you. IPO, they will talk with you about it and help you kind of recognize that there is more of a problem, or if it's just misunderstanding, because chances are we're all going to have some misunderstandings. You may make mistakes. I may make mistakes, but we're going to learn from each other if we can have conversations about it. Really, like, I am so glad that you all are here. I feel like it takes a lot of courage to come and study in another country. My in-laws came from China, and I was just like, how did you just move, you know, and move your, you know, come over here and not know anybody? And they did bring family over, but that took time and years to bring family over. And it just takes a lot of courage. English is not they didn't know English when they came here. And they have their community of other Chinese Americans, but I just think it takes a lot of courage. And I'm proud of them, and I'm really proud of you all for being here. Dealing with challenges, I think. Yeah, that went kind of easy. Take care of yourself, get enough sleep, do things you enjoy. Plan ahead and be flexible, right? Make plans and then be open to them changing. The weather here changes on a dime. So you may dress to go play in the snow and the sun comes out and everything is slushy. You just make snowmen while you're here. And there's great sledding over on Bart's Hill. Lots of fun things. But get it while it's here because it may go very quickly. Get exercise, practice mindfulness. I'm going to let Megan talk a little bit about CALM. She's an intern for our CALM program.
Yeah, so CALM, we have, you can visit our website. There's a lot of great strategies and tips for whole person wellness. And, you know, all of our students here are, I'm sure you're interested in being successful academically and professionally. That's why you're here probably. And so in order to have academic success, we have to take care of the other parts of our lives too. Our physical health, like Cheryl talked about, emotional, social, financial. And so we have a lot of great tips and strategies on how to take care of ourselves so that we can be successful and accomplish the goals that we set for ourselves. And our CALM team also has some activities during midterms and finals usually. So like for finals last semester, we had a massage therapist come in and do shoulder massages for people, and the students loved it. We've done mindfulness, yoga, Mia, things like that in the past. So yeah, we're wrapping up now. I know we're running out of time, but this one kind of went goofy too. Just some resources, the Diversity Resource Center, International Programs Office, Student Affairs, the Wellness Center. All of these resources are here to help you and support you through your journey here at ISU. And I think ISU does a great job of providing services for students to help them. I just do want to talk, here's a QR code for our CATS Connections International Student Group. As Cheryl said, I lead that. It's every Friday at 1. And it's a great opportunity for social connection, you know, especially with the pandemic. It seems a lot of students feel very isolated, and being so far from home, it's really easy to start when a homesickness sets in, to feel isolated. So this group is really great for building your community here at ISU and your social connections and learning about the resources and what's available in the community and stuff. So I encourage you to join that. I would love to see you every Friday. You just have to register one time and then you can come any Friday that it's convenient for you. So it's a one-time registration, and then also housing can help with that too. So, and that link will probably be posted on social media and stuff as well, and with the Diversity Resource Center. So it's also on our website, or CAT's website. I don't know what happened to these things, but
I know.
we're in Gravely Hall, just right over the building right next to the sub, the southeast corner of the quad, third floor. That's where we're located. So give us a call if you want to set up services, do groups, biofeedback, individual counseling, any of that. So does anybody have any questions?
What are your thoughts about counseling? I kind of want to know, like, who goes to counseling in Japan? Anyone good? I know. I mean, because sometimes people are like, only people with like some serious mental illness go to counseling, but I want you guys to know counseling really, at this time of life in young adulthood, and you're figuring out college and career and who you are, like counseling is for just helping people figure out, like, who do I want to be? Like, what do I value and how do I move in the direction of that? And so we always just want people to know, like, you don't have to be depressed and anxious. You might feel stressed and want some skills to like manage that stress so that you can do well on your exams or things like that. But really, counseling is kind of like a class where you learn more about yourself and learn some skills that can help you like manage things the way you want to and the values that matter to you. So we invite you guys all to participate if you want to. Again, it's free and it's confidential. Like, no one tells anyone that you're coming there, and you can do it over Zoom or in person. So if you want to do it over Zoom, like that's an option as well. So thank you all. I appreciate your time, and I'm really glad that you're here. I hope to see you at different events. Are you guys going to be doing the hot cocoa and coffee time?
Possibly, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
we evaluate things, so yeah.
I know, there's a pandemic. I know. Okay, thank you.
This have a good highlight. Thank you, Cheryl and Megan, for the wonderful presentation. So I just want to let you guys know that I came as an international student to ISU, and everything I'm going to talk about is based on the experience, and also based on like working with international students for the last couple of years too. So coming from overseas, sometimes we're all concerned about our safety. So just to let you know, ISU is one of the safest campuses in the US, but that doesn't mean that we have to be careless, right? So you have to make sure that your door is always closed, your door is closed, your car door is always locked. You don't leave your wallet somewhere accessible to other people, and always take care of your personal stuff. And then the policing actually, so the local police actually, in general, all the United States police, they're very nice people and they're very friendly. And sometimes if you end up purchasing a car and driving on the street, just make sure that you have your license with you, and you have your car registration and also your insurance. These are some of the things that you have to have in your car. And other than that, usually if they stop you for any reason, they will explain it to you, and then they'll check all of these documents that you have. And then the stop sign, if you're driving, make sure like when the traffic light is red, and most of us, some of us, we came from a third world country here. There's no traffic light. Afghanistan is one of them, actually, unfortunately. So make sure to follow the traffic light, and also the other thing, actually, most of the international students that they get in trouble with the police is basically when they park the car. Wherever they see an empty space, they park their car. So just make sure to read the sign on the street to see if you can park there or not. And then the crosswalk, the traffic light is red, just make sure to use, not to walk. But other than that, now it's a lot of snow right now, you guys don't see it, but usually there's a crosswalk, so you just have to use that. Know the local laws, just the drinking age is 21, you have to be 21 years old to drink. And if you have a friend who's not 21, you cannot buy alcohol for them because they're not 21. It's illegal. You will go to jail for it, basically. The age of consent is 18. That's very important to remember. The drinking age is 21, and also the age of consent is 18. Charlotte and Megan already talked about the health. Make sure to be healthy. Food, eat a lot of good food, drink a lot of water, exercise regularly, and be involved. We have a lot of international groups actually here in international student associations that you can be involved and be part of it. You all must have your health insurance by now. It's required by law because on the last page of your I-20, and I hope you have read all of those. Because once you sign the I-20, that means that you have read all of the information and you understand all of them. So make sure to have your insurance for F1 and also for D1 students too. That's a requirement. And here are some of the companies that they sell insurance, health insurance for international students and scholars. And I know this is a lot of information we have covered today from the beginning until now. We can forward the slides to you guys once we are done this presentation, either today or maybe by tomorrow, if not the latest by next week. So we can refer back to all of these links and all this information, and if you have any questions. I talked a little bit about the cultural student club here at ISU. We have the African Student Association, Latin students, and also Indian students, Chinese students, Hispanic students, International Student Association, which is the biggest club here at ISU, Japanese club, Korean club, Native American, and Polish Association. These are all of the active students clubs that you can be involved, be a part of it, or if you want to start a club, ISU will help you and fund you to start a new club if the club that you are interested in is not on this list. So I'm sure like most of you are living on campus and some of you are off campus, just to make sure about off-campus housing. We cannot have off-campus housing if it's possible, but just some of the tips about the off-campus housing is know the contract, because everything you do in the US, you have to sign a contract. I think you do have to do that for the on-campus housing. Just make sure to read the contract and ask about the utilities, and also there will be some deposit that you have to deposit some money. And when you're leaving that housing or at the end of your contract, make sure to leave the house in good shape, clean it, otherwise they will not give you the deposit money back. And some of the house off-campus booklet. So this is a big thing actually right now. So be aware of the email and food stamps. You will get a lot of calls and people will ask you for your social security number or for your tax information documents. Just to let you guys know that the federal government or they will never call you and ask you your personal information on the phone. Every time when they need to get a hold of you, they will send you an email. So through on the phone, if anyone calls you, do not answer, do not give them your personal information. And if you don't have a cell phone yet, and if you want to get one, just prepaid or an easy one, and affordable too, you can get it from Walmart probably. But if you want to get a cell phone from Verizon, for ISU students, they give 18% discount. And in order to live in America, so you have to have some kind of bank information that's where all of your checking, the money will go there. Most of our students using the ISU Federal Credit Union. It's a good option. It's on campus. It's not very far away. Transportation. Some of the grocery stores are here close to ISU campus, and some of them are really actually far away. So, like I said, we will send you this presentation, that you can go and see how you can, use what buses to use in order to go to, for example, to Walmart or Prisma to a doctor appointment and use it. For the students, I think generally it's like $1. You have to have $1 in order to use the buses. But if you are using it on campus, like here, like the student union is far away from the biology college department. So if you're using the bus from here to there, for students, it's free. You guys have any questions so far? Okay, so that's really good. Again, welcome guys, welcome to America, to Coca-Cola, and also to ISU. We're very excited to work with you guys. Sean?
So do you guys have any other questions at all? We're pretty much done with orientation today. Any questions? Ready for lunch? No, pretty good over there. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and thank you, Khalil, for your presentation there, and we'll go ahead and start with lunch. Does anybody else have anything else they want to add?
I want to make sure that you guys know that the international program offers is like a home for you guys. Come and see us, come and ask us any question you have. Send us an email, call us. Just remember, we are here for you. Okay?
Yes.
So always come and talk to us. And we will reach out to you too. So, okay, that's great. Let's eat.
Yeah, all right, go ahead. Just go over, you just grab your food there and just form a line and go ahead and grab your food. Thank you, everybody.